Now, Dexter. Dexter, I thought you came for Harrison. Dexter is in a world of his own Disneyland of serial unalivers and an unending perpetual list of people that he can take out. Because, I mean, really? Really? I mean, we get to it, but damn, Dexter, focus on the thing. Get it, don't be timid when you in it, love a bone, give along, need it. My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? Dexter Resurrection, Season 1, Episode 4, Call Me Big Red. Call me Red. Okay, because we know that Dexter has unalived the real Red, who was invited to the serial unaliver party hosted by Leon Prater, aka Peter Dinklage. Okay, and so he is now going through the motions to get everything set up with the thumbprint, with how he's going to be, how he's going to interact, because he really doesn't know what to expect at this part. He's having too much fun. He's like, this is what I do. This is what I love. Like, honestly, his mind could not be further away from Harrison. And I cannot. Harrison's back to work. And, old girl is giving him some tips on, how to interact with the guest, what he needs to do going forward. And seemingly in the beginning of the episode, he seems like, okay, he's getting back into the swing of things. Next, we see Charlie, and she is bringing Dexter on in and not giving anything away because Dexter is asking a lot of questions. And my concern throughout the entire interaction while he's there at Leon's house is Dexter has a tell to me. Not only do we see Dexter's tell in that he's asking all of these millions of thousands of questions, but when we go into the archive, the room of all of the serial unalivers relics, and he sees his blood slides, Dexter said, Dexter, please. But I mean, it was interesting to see, we see, of course, his brother. We see the Trinity Killer played by John Lithgow, and he's kind of just processing through it. And of course, we know the most poignant was, of course, his brother, and remembering what he had to do, and the emotion that it elicited, and actually having someone explain to him what he did, which is so interesting to me. And immediately, again, after he reacted to the blood sides, I just knew Leon knew this is not Big Red. But we shall see. We go to Big Red. He gives him the ID of the first kill. Thank you so much. I'm honored to put it here. And Dexter finds out about the security system in this archive, and that if anyone gets the code wrong just once, it immediately goes off, and Charlie will come in, aka Uma, with the blicky ready to fire off. Okay, so it's like we already know this, but we know after watching this scene, Dexter wants his blood slides. Dexter wants his blood slides black. I don't think he can think of anything else but that. Then we finally get into the room and we see everything. We see the other killers enter, right? We meet one called Rapunzel who cuts the hair off people. I believe that's played by Modern Family. We see Mia, who's Jessica Jones. Y'all know, if y'all watch Jessica Jones, y'all know who Mia is, otherwise known as Lady Vengeance, and she takes out SA predators, right? So immediately Dexter's like a kindred spirit. She's got a code just like me. This might be somebody I can get with. Now, I want to say immediately no. Immediately, I don't trust Mia. I don't think Mia's going to be a lover, a confidant, anything of the sort. She may play the role for a moment, but I think her allegiance is to Leon. For whatever reason, there really just seemed to be this something between them. And of course, Dexter, being who he is, I think is oblivious to that fact, but we'll see. We find out more about Leon. He's a venture capitalist by day, but ultimately he's a collector of things. He says he's not an unaliver, but he respects the work, the dedication, and the passion that serial unalivers have. They make an announcement during this episode about the clubber and how the clubber went against the rules and he had to be taken down. And a very strict warning goes out that if you go against any of the people in the club, right, if you break any of the other rules, you out of there. Mia later tells us one guy went to jail but committed self-harm. After that, another one just never came back. Another person was just never invited back. And again, never to be heard from again. I think I'm going to call Leon the collector from now on. It just makes sense. But again, he's asking all these questions, and I just really need him to stop. I really need him to stop. So again, Mia is Lady Vengeance, who's Jessica Jones. We have Doogie Howser, MD, who plays Lowell, I believe his name is, and he's got an obsession with tattoos. He saves the tattoos off people's bodies as a trophy. It's very vile and disgusting. He does a show and tell and shows his next victim. And of course, Dexter's like, okay, you first on my list, Bookie. We find out that all the unalivers are going to be here for the next 2 weeks. Again, we have Rapunzel, which is Modern Family. And we have another one who's kind of an enigma. He's always strange and odd. He was in The Sandman too, but he's always a weirdo. I can't even remember what he did, and I took notes. It wasn't memorable enough for me to write it down. Next, we see Angel. Angel, of course, in New York, because we know about the truck. He went to question Harrison's friend that he sold the truck to, and now he's at the hotel asking Harrison questions. I said, Harrison, if you open up your mother effing mouth about your daddy, I'll really hate you. I already don't like you because of what you did, okay? But there will be no redemption for you in my eyes if you tell Angel anything. So Angel basically tries to carry on the idea that Dexter's dead. You know, yeah, my dad died and I left town. Well, did you know anything about your dad outside of that? And I was like, you better not say a thing. And he didn't, thankfully. But he's not done. Because as soon as Harrison walks off flustered, his friend, old girl, comes over and is like, he didn't have anything to do with the murder. Angel's like, what murder? So now Angel's a dog with a bone. He's going to get something on Harrison. We know that it's going to further get him thinking about Dexter. Now, Bay doesn't think this is true, but I honestly think that Harrison in that moment is kind of getting an awareness that Dexter's not dead. But I could be wrong, and it doesn't really matter because by the end of the episode, you know, we see what happens. The next day, Dexter decides to go for a run with Mia and ask all of the questions that he can ask. And she seems open. And we get a little bit about Mia's origin story, which is she was always angry. Her first, an indication of that was when she was in school. She beat up this little boy. She hit him over the head, and then she stuck thumbtacks in his face. Okay. And they didn't get her help immediately. They didn't get her therapy. They just knew she was angry and told her to stop being angry. Her mom got with this sicko. She went away. She got into dance school. She was a prima ballerina. But her sister Hazel, who was young, innocent, was still left there. She found out that the stepfather was violating her little sister and took out the stepdad completely. That was her first unaliving. Dexter says he still remembers his first unaliving, but that, he did have a good mom. It was just the way that she passed, and that his father helped him, with his journey of understanding and knowing who he was. She invites him back to the crib. We get to see her collectibles in her ballerina jewelry box. And here's my thing. I think Dexter loves this because, again, he can say things he's never said out loud. He can be in community, but again, he's in community as Red. I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out because not for nothing, but Dexter has a style and so did Red. So when it's time for show and tell, what is Dexter going to show? Because he's not going to change his style. I posit this, that Dexter will be out doing his unalivings how the Bay Harbor Butcher did. And I think there'll be some way to make the correlation. I'm not fully 100 on how that'll happen yet, but just that's my theory on how it's going to be. I don't know if he'll be able to fully adopt the Red persona before he's found out, because I ultimately do think people will find out he's the Bay Harbor Butcher, especially Leon and Charlie, because as much as, they're making these accommodations with the vegetarian, he goes out and gets 2 hot dogs. I immediately felt like Charlie was tailing him. Just my thought. Dex is like, okay, it's happening sooner. He sets up a date to meet Lowell after he gets away from Mia. She's in the shower. I said, she's trying to seduce him. Dex, don't fall for that evil cootie cat. Don't fall for Lady Vengeance's cootie cat, honey. She might unalive more than what you think, okay? I don't know if her code is fully solid. We shall see. But he goes and meets Lowell. Lowell's like, listen, I don't have time. Her tattoo will be done in 2 hours, and you know, who knew she could take this much pain? I'm going over there to get her immediately. And Dexter said, well, I got to take you out immediately. So we see Dexter do his thing. He gets Lowell back, and you know, says all he wants to say and gives his confession like, I'm not who you thought I was. That's one thing I couldn't be open about. Damn it. And when he asked, well, who are you? He says, I'm Dexter Morgan. He said, who's Dexter Morgan? He says, the Bay Harbor Butcher. The way Doogie Howser, MD, screamed and squealed tickled me. But he's ended. He's done. Now, what are we going to do about this? Of course, Harry comes up and is like, Dexter, what you going to do now? You know the rules. How are you going to deal with this? He said, this is what I'm good at. This is what I was made for. This is what I can do. I'll figure it out. Now, after that, we see Angel meet with Harrison one more time. And it's like, I see you're going down a dark path. You don't have to do this. This is not your way. This is not your story. It doesn't have to be. And we see him really battle with, do I call Detective Wallace? Next thing we know, Harrison's outside the police station. And I was like, I told y'all Harrison's going to go to jail because he want to go. Dexter stops him on the shoulder before he can go in. And he's like, Dad, Harrison, yes, son, don't do this. So reunited, and it feels so good. I don't know. You guys drop it in the comments. Let me know below. This season is so good, you guys. I was nervous, but they are not disappointing me. This is a great, even a good standalone series, I feel. This was an excellent episode. It almost felt like a movie, which I love, love, love in TV land to get that feeling. And they were able to do it in less than an hour. I love that for us. You guys drop it in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking of, what you thought of episode 4 and the introduction to all the serial unalivers, to Peter Dinklage's character. I want to know all the things. But first, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell, hit a like, and drop your good sis a comment below. Helps me so, so much. Thank you so much for watching. I will see y'all in the next video.